Welcome back or welcome to my channel where I talk about books that I've just read. I just finished Still Alice by Lisa Genova, which broke my heart, I won't lie. And once I read the plot, you'll understand why. Still Alice is a compelling debut novel about a 50-year-old woman's sudden descent into early-onset Alzheimer's disease. Written by first-time author Lisa Genova, who also narrates the audiobook, so that was cool, who also holds a PhD in neuroscience from Harvard University. It's giving Amy Farrah Fowler. I don't know where she got her degree, but Alice Howland, happily married with 3 grown children and a house on the Cape, is a celebrated Harvard professor at the height of her career, when she notices a forgetfulness creeping into her life. As confusion starts to cloud her thinking and her memory begins to fail her, she receives a devastating diagnosis, early-onset Alzheimer's disease. Fiercely independent, Alice struggles to maintain her lifestyle and live in the moment, even as her sense of self is being stripped away. In turns heartbreaking, inspiring, and terrifying, Still Alice captures in remarkable detail what it's like to literally lose your mind. Ironically enough, there is a typo in this plot. It says, what's it's like. What is it is like. My notes. Alice forgot a word during a speech, making me a little paranoid because I forget words all the time. Which, that's how it actually starts, how she notices. I don't know if she uses it all the time or whatever, but it was, she was giving a lecture for a class or for her school or one of those things, and she forgot a word. It was lexicon or whatever that means. I forget words all the time. However, that's what her husband John was saying, that he's just like, the other day, actually, this happened in the movie. The other day I forgot the word for glucose. I don't think that happened in the book, but oh well, it may have. Oh, in the book he was talking about always losing his keys. That's what it was. So he was like, we forget things all the time. Alice is saying if Lydia, her daughter, she has 3 kids, as it mentioned. She has 2 daughters, Lydia, Anna, and 1 son, Tom. So, Alice is saying if Lydia doesn't get a degree, she can't fall back on something if her acting career doesn't work out. As if a degree means anything. It was published in 2007 though, and you can tell. And then, which leads to my next note, it's 2003 in the book, which totally made sense because that was the time where they were like, oh, you have to get a degree, any degree. It will open up all sorts of doors for you. Poor Alice, this just sums up the whole book. But she lost her sister and mother, I think in the same year, possibly due to a car wreck, I'd assume. So, yeah, I was right. So they unfortunately got killed in a car wreck by their dad. Alice's and the sister's dad. So he was drinking and driving, I guess, which I don't know why they would get into a car with him. If they knew, I don't know. Maybe they didn't know. Whatever, I'm not here to victim blame. But, so yeah, so they died when Alice was 18. Alice's dad, however, lived all the way till, I think, 2002. I think she said he died, last year. So, 2002. Wouldn't you know it? Liver issues. Go figure with all that drinking. Anna, who is her daughter, who I said. So she was named after, I assume her sister, Alice's sister. Because Alice's sister was named Anne. So, I don't know that it ever said her mother's name. If it did, I didn't notice. Anna is talking about how she's trying to get pregnant with her husband. Alice also hasn't told them the news yet. How sad. I said, oof. Tom was like, oh well, by the time we get kids, there'll be better treatments and a cure. Unfortunately, that is not the case. Well, maybe better treatments, I would assume, than in 2003. They broke the news, and then they were talking about how it's genetic, so they could have a 50% chance of having the gene or not having the gene. However, Anna does have the Alzheimer's genes, which was sad because she's the one who wanted kids, but thankfully they're doing IVF or whatever. It didn't say why. Yeah, so they were doing IVF, so I guess there was a way to bypass the Alzheimer's genes or whatever. So their kids probably won't have that. All of this is reminding me of Grey's Anatomy and about the Alzheimer's gene. Alice is talking about donating her brain to science, but she was thinking in great detail about it. It made me cringe physically. Or she was thinking, like, in her head, very specifically, like, how the medical students would handle the brain. And then I think she even talked about slicing it open, and I was just like, ah! I felt my brain just rattle. It was very just heebie-jeebies, you know? I didn't like that part. Alice refusing to draw the clock is so relatable. I can't draw either. At one of her neurologist appointment, whatever, they wanted her to draw a clock and tell them what where 3:15 would be. So basically just testing that she can still read a clock. And she was like, well, draw me the clock and I will point to you. I will show you where 3:15 is. They're like, well, no, you have to draw the clock. She was like, no, draw it for me. And he started remembering about one of her kids. I don't remember which one, but it was one of the girls. How when she was a little kid, she was really into horses. And she wanted Alice to draw her a horse for whatever reason. Which this would have been maybe the 80s or 90s. I don't remember how old the kids are. So, I mean, it makes sense. They can't just Google, like, here's a horse. And she was just like, I guess drew this, like, terrible horse. And the daughter was just like, no. So, then they even were like, this isn't the horse, just draw the clock. It's fine. She wants to read more as a part of her bucket list. And it was like, what if I can't get to all the books I want to? So relatable. I think about that all the time. I don't think I will ever get through all the books I want to read that are literally on my to-be-read list right now. It's like 2,000 books. Thanks to audiobooks, I have gotten through a little bit faster now. I did the math and I think it was like 60-something years or so. Of course, there will also be more books by then. So I'll never get through the books I want to read totally, even with audiobooks, unfortunately. Maybe if I, like, constantly listen to it, like, all day at work, I would have a better chance then. It's insane. John is just leaving her be at times. I don't think I'd ever get a moment's peace again if it was me and my husband. So, yeah, it was crazy. They kept just leaving her alone, which is understandable. You know, it's a new diagnosis, you know. She's only 50. You know, they're used to being able to just leave her alone and going about her day. And her kids are grown, so, you know, they're not home. They don't need anything, really. So, it's just crazy. They just kept leaving her alone. I'm just like, you have a woman who is going through Alzheimer's. Why are you leaving her alone? It just pissed me off. And you understand that, like, you can't just hire a home aide or home health care, whatever, just immediately. Not everyone has that option. I get that. But these are two Harvard professors. I think he was a professor at Harvard, too. He was definitely something in there. You know, you have, like, these two adults, grown children. They're not, like, raising any kids anymore. They're in their 50s. It's 2003. They should probably have some money. I don't know. It just kind of pissed me off. And then I said, Alice forgot what happened to Anne. She, I guess, was just sitting there or was in her home. And she kept wondering, she kept feeling like something was wrong, something is off. And she was like, oh, well, Anne's not home yet. So she was like, where's Anne? And where's Mom? That was really sad. If you listen to the Office Ladies podcast, they talk a lot about doing deep diving over stuff on the show. Well, I did my own deep dive. They mentioned tuition prices at Harvard was $40,000 a year. I was like, man, those prices are probably like double as opposed to 2003. But no, it's only $59,000. Only, I say. That's just tuition alone. That's not like books and boarding and all that. In reality, tuition alone was $26,000 in 2003. However, tuition, boarding, textbooks, and all that crap, that equaled to about $39,000. So they were pretty right about the $40,000 a year. I was impressed that I guess it was almost double with tuition, but yeah, it's $59,000. Again, these people leave Alice alone way too much. They would leave her literally in the house alone all day. While he was at work, nobody was watching her. John wants to move to New York because of his career. How ridiculous. So I will admit, I didn't really like John in this book. I felt for him. Obviously, it's really difficult to deal with. I don't know. I didn't really like him. With the whole not hiring help, which maybe they didn't expect her to progress so fast in the disease. I don't know. I just did not like him. So, because Alice wanted to finish off the year for her teaching, for her lessons and all that, and that didn't work out, but she wanted to spend the next year with him before she completely lost it. And he just didn't want to, because understandably he didn't want to see her lose her mind, basically. I felt bad for him, obviously. However, it still kind of just annoyed me. Alice used the term medium children. I have to say that part was a little funny to me, just because I always like when you can't think of a word that you're trying to describe it. I assume she was talking about teenagers, maybe, or maybe preteens. I don't know. It was near the end, so unfortunately she was pretty far along in the Alzheimer's. And then she kept referring to her kids as the actress and the mother. So Lydia is the one who wanted to be an actress, and then Anna eventually got pregnant with twins. So, and then near the end of the book, she did give birth to the twins. And that's when they would come over with Alice a lot more. So they finally got together and finally took care of her. But yeah, she made the switch from calling them Lydia and Anna to, the mother and then the actress. That made me pretty sad. That is all my notes. You can see why this broke my heart. There is a movie I learned which came out, I don't know when it came out. Came out a few years ago. So I am actually watching that now. I have 20 minutes left. It's on Netflix. And same name, still Alice. It has Julianne Moore, Alec Baldwin, Kristen Stewart. So 3 actors that I really enjoy. I know a lot of people don't really like Kristen Stewart's acting, but I like it. It seems a little more relatable to me. Whatever. I enjoyed the movie, honestly. One person said they enjoyed the movie a little more than the book. I don't know that I do. I do wish that one of the reviews actually said that they wish that it was more first-person view, I think, as opposed to what it was. And I do have to agree. I do wish that we saw more, how Alice thought, how she was thinking. Because at one point, there was a point where she becomes confused, obviously, which leads to agitation, as it usually does. And she was telling, I think, Lydia that she hates her and just go away. Just go away. She was confused. So I kind of wish that we would have heard why she's saying that she hates her. So, because I don't assume that she hates her own daughter. I understand that it was a part of the confusion. I don't know if maybe that was just lashing out or whatever. But yeah, at some points I feel like it could have been more into her thought process. However, with that said, I really love the book. I don't think I could listen to it again or read it. I listened to the audiobook in one day. It was an 8-hour book. I don't think I could do it again. Broke my heart. I'm still thinking about it. I'm still sad. And watching the movie is not helping. So, I don't know. Like I said, the movie hasn't really changed a whole lot. It's in a different year. I think 2013 instead? No, a little after. I don't remember what they said though. But they obviously have a smartphone. She's playing Words with Friends with not Lydia, Anna. Yeah, Anna. So I could tell you right there, it was not 2003 because they did not have Words with Friends in 2003. Or I don't think a smartphone. Like, did they? I don't know. But, oh well. So, other than that, they changed obviously a couple of things. There was a scene where she goes in to their cottage. They have like a summer home too. That also pissed me off because they can afford 2 houses, but nobody can come and hire a person to watch her. They eventually did. They eventually did hire a helper, so I don't think it was a money thing, whatever. But what pissed me off is he couldn't retire early. Come on. He's like in his 50s. He's not that far off from retirement. Oh well. That's beside the point. There was a scene where she goes into that little cabin or summer house or whatever you call it. I'm too broke for all that nonsense. She came in to go to the bathroom because they were going to go on a run. I will say, because she went running like 5 miles a day every day, which is insane to me. John did not like running, so I will say it was sweet that he did start running with her, because their neurologist, or her neurologist, did say that, she shouldn't be alone during this in case she gets lost again, which she did at some point in Harvard, a place that she works at. So she goes in, she wants to go to the bathroom, and she keeps forgetting that she has to go to the bathroom. So that is pretty sad. I don't know where I was going with that. But otherwise, scenes like that, like, it broke my heart. So in the movie, that's what I was saying. So in the movie, they changed why she went in there, I think. Or maybe it was just a part of her confusion, because she thought she went in for another layer of, like, clothing, because maybe it was a winter house. But it was a little bit cold, I guess. In the book, though, she was like, I don't need another layer, so that's not why I came in this room. So maybe that was just a part of, maybe they didn't change that up, actually. But she did, in the movie, ended up peeing herself. I don't think that happened in the book. That might have happened. I didn't catch that. So, unfortunately, stuff like that. Super duper sad. Overall, I really love the book. Like I said, I do wish it kind of was a little bit different, just in the writing itself. But, first time author, it was really good. And you could tell she had knowledge in the subject. At least I think so. I don't have any knowledge, in that subject. Anyways, I hope you liked it. I hope you liked the book. If you read it, let me know what you thought. If you hated it, if you've watched the movie, by the time this comes out, hopefully I would have finished those last 20 minutes of the movie. I will say it was pretty sad. She technically saw her son graduate college, college, med school, whatever, by the end. However, she didn't know that it was her son yet. So that was really sad. Really sad. Okay, let me know what you thought.